always feel like I interrupt that a little too soon. How you doing, Roy?
I'm doing good, my friend. How are you?
I'm like, not quite fully in it. My brain is still trying to get sleep from about 3:30 in the morning. This morning, I've been awake a little bit since then. That's it. Not too bad. Other than that, I'm okay. Just still not quite fully into it. Hold on. What happened to my screen all of a sudden? Everything just kind of disappeared on me here on my local setup. That was really strange. All right. However, aside from the fact that I'm, just kind of okay today, these guys look bad, Rory. Who will save us? It's Legendary Moo. He's in the house. Legendary Moo, glad to have you with us. I just, hold on. He's asking a question. Yeah, the answer to that question is, well, kind of. Oh, wait, absolute. Wait. Hold on. The question is, Mark, do you have any experience with the optional attribute used by CVS Helper so that a row does not need all values specified? I have some modifications that would allow for multiple fanfares per user, as well as the creation of long and short versions, but it requires changes to fanfare's CSV. Wondering if I could do something that would not require you to fully rewrite that file and instead have it update the records when people chat for the first time each day. Yeah, don't have any experience with the optional attribute. What I found, and I haven't done a lot. I've really done no review at all out of CSV Helper. I haven't looked at that code at all, or even the instructions. We just essentially have figured out how to get it working once. I think with the help of folks from the chat room here months ago, and we've been essentially copying that code all along. However, what I have been doing that I really like, there's probably a faster, easier way out of this, but I've been creating these DTO classes. For example, here I've got character DTO, and inside it, character, that's not a great example. Let's go to, what's a good one to look at here? Yeah, I guess this one's fair. This one's good. I'll create these DTOs and everything's a string. Because if I make it an int and I leave it blank in the spreadsheet, then what happens is we get an error when we try to read it. And that means I got to...
That with the nullable of it.
I haven't tried that.
Okay.
But I've also got, and I've got a reason why I haven't tried that too, because, in several of my spreadsheets, I have places where there aren't numbers, and I want to be able to figure stuff out. Here's kind of an example where I got to bring it in as a string. So this takes one action, this takes one reaction, this is one bonus action. So those times are there. But I also have inside of shortcuts where we define the shortcuts and the special effects, which I'm not sure these all belong together, by the way. But I have the hue, which is normally an int, but if nothing's specified, the hue shift will be 0. But I also have an option for player right here. And so player can be a string, and if I see player, then I'm like, okay, let's get the player's hue. Is what I do. Right, the bit where the header specifies there should be 4 entries, but the record has 2, and I want that to be okay at read time. Yeah, What I want to do is we can change the spreadsheet, the data, so it has all of those elements in it. And here, let me bring that up so we know what Legendary Moo's talking about here.
Quick hello to C# Fritz and his party of 68 who are currently raiding. You catch us right at the start of our stream when we're discussing, I think, the use of CSV Helper in reading CSV files for purposes of some of our configuration. So, we're just having a little chat about that right now.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. I think it's in Mr. Announcer Guy. Yeah, here it is. It's in this spreadsheet right here. So the fanfare data is here. And so what we could do is we could add some columns here. And then you just, for the columns we add, we're just going to change that code. Let's go find that seconds long. So if we do a search through, probably not this app, probably the overlays only one over here. And we do a search for, what is it, seconds long. We will probably find it. Something out there declared, that looks good, fanfare DTO. So what we can do is we can, you can add whatever fields we want here, right? Whatever columns we want there, and just add them here as well. But I would add them as just, instead of making seconds long be a double, I would make seconds long be a string. And then if it's blank, we won't get an error. At least that's how I would do it. Right, so I have I haven't used the optional. There's probably a better way to do it, but that's kind of how I would do it because it's fast and easy for me to create a DTO. And then what happens is as I'm bringing it in, somewhere in here, here are my fanfares. Whoops, here you can see there's the CSV data get call right there. And then somewhere I grab the first default. There's the DTO, and it looks like I'm just using the DTO all by itself. And it's called a play fanfare. But we could create a second class called fanfare and then give it a from method, a static from method that takes the DTO and then checks all the data and knows how to convert the strings, which then allows us to leave these empty, which is nice because then you don't have a lot of noise with a bunch of zeros or whatever all in here, which is what I kind of am preferring. So I'm kind of, part of what I'm doing here is I'm trying to balance, the maintenance of the spreadsheets with the, with how much code is needed to bring it all in. Okay. President Not Sure One is announcing the raid as well. Welcome, President Not Sure One. Ancient Coder's with us as well. Glad to have you with us. Looks like we've got some code. Subscribe. What the heck is coming in with Ancient Coder? It says sorry guys. So maybe that was not an intentional. Copperbeardy says
accidental paste.
Yeah, Copperbeardy's in, and I didn't see Copperbeardy's fanfare, and I didn't see. Did C-Sharp Fritz say anything? He did not say anything in either. So Brave Cover's with us. Stelzy79. Sure, we got some lurkers out there. Deathpax is with us. Welcome, everyone. So since the last show, amazing stuff has happened. It started, and I was like, almost wish you were with me, but I was like, I decided to just work by myself without you guys. It started at the end of the last show. I don't think you were with us, Roy, or maybe you were, but I was talking about the features that a Dungeons and Dragons character might have. And I was looking at the Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, let's bring up, for example, Fred, the character Fred here. And apologize for my congestion here, kids. So Fred's got some features and traits, and they're discussed here. So one of his features is rage. And it says as a bonus action, you can enter rage for up to 1 minute. Okay, so I've added a feature called rage, which you can see here. Yep. On activate, I'm calling set rage to true. Okay, on deactivate, I'm calling it to false. Duration is 1 minute. Okay, requires player activation. Yeah, I got a checkbox there. All right, feels like...
Sounds like an equivalent specification so far.
Yeah, not bad, huh? Let's go back in and check it out. Next, you gain advantage on strength checks right here and saving throws, not attacks, a +2 melee damage. Okay, so that's one thing right there. You gain advantage on strength checks and saving throws. So let's come back over here. Advantage checks and saves, and then I've got a $ ability. On activate, we're going to give advantage. That's what we're calling. On deactivate, I've got a thing here that I've written down here. Nothing's really happening here, but I'm just calling recalculate turn-based state. And then the conditions are, the conditions meaning this must be satisfied for this feature state to be active.
Right.
We got to be either checking the ability, notice the $ ability, the same one that we're passing in here. This is how I'm defining variables in my spreadsheets. Okay? Slightly mind-blowing, but that's what I decided to
Write
do.
your own scripting language in a CSV file.
That's what I'm doing. Oh, you know what? There's a syntax error. I need a double one of these here for OR check. Okay? In fact, here, same thing. Okay. I started out saying, oh, I only wanted one. The reason I started out because I was going to write my own expression parser. Because, pretty much that's how I roll, because I'm an old school guy. And in the old days, there wasn't reliable stuff out there. Then, let's see, expression.
When you search for expression.
Parser. Yeah, we didn't have the internet back then, kids. Then I find this thing. Like, I Google this. By the way, I'm like, bracing the family for impact. I'm saying, this is going to take me a couple days. And they're all like, you son of a, and they're like, I want to imagine I have a baby and the baby's grabbing me by the collar and shaking me. I hit this and I look at this and I start looking through the examples and I'm like, ooh, I think I got this. And in 20 minutes, I get this thing integrated and starting to customize it. And I'm like, and I've just gained a whole bunch of things that I was going to have to write by hand. I gained, Boolean, evaluation, expression evaluation, and a whole bunch of things. String concatenation. Check this out here. Roll dice. I got this string plus the level of the fighter. So second wind, right? Come over here. Let's see if I can find second wind. Here it is. Once per short rest, you can use a bonus action to regain 1d10 plus 4 hit points. Like that. And so, okay, so it's 1d10, and that 4, by the way, look, if I hover over it here, it comes from the class level.
This is absolutely ideal for the scenario of Dungeons & Dragons because there are so many sort of character-centric formulae that can have pieces just like this inserted directly into them. And then you can now interpret this and just say, give me the answer. Yeah. No, it's crazy. It is like there's so many of these rules and there's so many of these exceptions, but they have something in common. The trait has got a name. It's got a condition on when it will self-activate or if the user is going to activate it. For example, the user can choose second wind or something along those lines. I think we need one more field here is what we think, was what I think we need. Okay, so I integrated it. Now let me show you the cool thing that I did that is really, really super cool. Here in my D&D app, we got this running right now, so we aren't going to be able to make changes unless we shut it down. In the D&D core, I have, let's see, what am I looking for here? Inside expressions, I've got the kind of the base foundational engines that I've got in here that we're using here. So everything in this folder is what I built. And I built all this in about 8 hours is what I built, which is pretty good. And let's look at the D&D, the core classes here. So I've got a class called D&D function, which descends from D&D token. So let's just look at D&D token for a second. So Dungeons and Dragons token. It's essentially a token in the expression. It's going to have a property called name. It's virtual, so I can override it. And it's got a handles function, which is basically just checking to see, hey, is this name equal to the token I'm being passed in? And if it is, this D&D token class is going to say, yeah, I got this. I'm handling it. But I should actually call it an abstract class because we don't create any instances of it. Descending from D&D token is both a D&D variable, which adds one more abstract function called getValue. It takes the variable. That's what you should be able to do, yeah.
And look at this. It takes a player. Because guess what? Virtually all of these rules center around the player.
Sure.
Okay? By the way, it gets mind-blowingly cool. If this isn't already starting to look cool, it's going to get really cool. At least for me it is. It's structurally, this is like, there's no visual effects in this, kids, but it's super cool architecture. You'll see the benefits of it in a second. So there's my D&D variable. It's just got to get value. Okay, cool, no biggie. Let's look at function. functions adds something called evaluate. And it adds a helper method called expecting arguments, so I can pass in, hey, we're expecting 3 arguments, and if it's not, we throw an exception. Okay? So I can very easily just, in my helper functions come out there and say, all right, what's going on out there? What's going on? Let's talk about everybody here. I was traumatized by such a feature configuration system a couple years back. I vowed to never do such a thing again myself, says Stelzy79. Jock Arwin is asking, is this a game with ASP.NET? No, it's not. No. We are using TypeScript and JavaScript, but not. And we'll show you some of the special effects as well. Let me just go up here. I missed a couple others right here. Yeah, Hugo's saying no fanfares played. Let's do a refresh of that, shall we, kids? Seems like I need a second. We'll shut down the overlays. Let's get the fanfares running here, kids, because it's just not.
Doing that, I'll just give a quick summary of exactly what we are doing, because for those of us who are joining us from other streams, you may not have come across our stream before. We are building a series of tools to aid in the production of another stream. The other stream is going to be one in which Mark and a couple of colleagues play some Dungeons & Dragons. And then we'd like to ease the process by making absolutely everything that we can as easy as possible for them to both play and for the Dungeon Master to implement. So we have dice rolls, we have magical effects, we have calculations of how those dice rolls will affect various parts of your character. We have character sheets, we have knowledge of the character and their current stats and how they might have all intermingled. So what Mark's done just this recently, he's discovered this mechanism by which he can not just have singular static facts, but in fact facts that are based off a calculation, a formula. Now the formulas are all findable on D&D and beyond, so we can take those, put them into some spreadsheets per the characters and the things that they have active, and get all of this calculated at a much more automatic level.
Surely Dev is in the house.
Nice. Surely Dev's with us. And there the fanfares are kicking out and working.
They are indeed.
It seems like I need a second start of that. So just reloading everything back up again. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Let's...
Copperbeardy is in the house.
Copperbeardy's here. Just wait till Codeman Code says something. It's going to be crazy. So the question was, what were the pumpkins? These are our fanfares that we have for our regulars here in the show. Yeah. Folks in the chat room who have helped us out and been with us for a while on a regular basis. And sometimes it helps if you've got a really cool handle. You get a inspired by your handle and your participation fanfare. So anyway, Codeman Codes is telling the story of getting an invite for FaceTime, and he doesn't. Speaking of which, that's him. It's Codeman Codes. Well, he's working on something. I know it. Hey, Jax. Got it. Okay, that was Codeman Codes. Why Mark doesn't want to say what to say is that the kids painted in blue and filmed him for that animation.
Hugo is in the house.
There we go. And you just know that Will Bennett's out there waiting for the fanfares to make sure they're working. Yeah. There he is.
Is in the house.
Who's not afraid of hurricanes? This guy. Dorian, this stormtrooper will park his ark, raise his staff, and part you. You're not putting out his burning bush. It's barely safe for work. Barely safe for work. Will, thank you very much. Excellent. It's Will Bennett, kids. The gang's all here, I think. We're all here, kids.
Welcome, everybody.
We don't have Jetsam yet. We haven't seen Jetsam yet this morning, but we might see him a little later. Oh, let's show some special effects that we can. Let's see if they're working. You know, so much code has been happening here. Let me initialize player data again. Let's see. Did I refresh the pieces? Looks like I did not. I don't have let's go in here and refresh the Dragon front overlay.
Hey, Fred. How's it hanging?
Fred's there. Let's see if Fred can say everything's good. Can Fred say that? Nope. Let's try a... I need to resend the data over, and then Fred can talk to you. I did the back overlay and the dice. Let's refresh the dice. All right. So there we go. We've refreshed those pieces. And now let's initialize player data. Switch over to a character. Did we lose our signal R connection maybe? Let's restart that one too.
Just to lend a bit of context, Fred there, as you'll see on the left of your stream, is one of the NPC characters from Mark's Dungeons & Dragons game, so he chips in every now and again with a little comment or two. And you'll have seen some character sheets there in the background, again for the Dungeon Master's use, but when selected will pop up in the stream as well, so making everything just a little bit easier.
Yeah, we're starting up one more time here, see if this all works. Cool overlay. Yeah, things are going to get cool here, I tell you. Jock Arwent is trying to fly the drone. Now that you got the drone out, Jock Arwent, you can fly it by typing in L for left, R for right, U for up, and D for down. And you can follow that by a time as well. And you can see Roy flying around right nearby in there. All right, so let's try one more time. Send over the data. There we go. That worked. And now, there we go. And so this is one of our apps for controlling the game. We also have the ability to control it from a Stream Deck. So we just push buttons. So I think let's see if I can give Fred. Fred, you got that? Are you good with that, Fred? I'm sending Fred the signal to give me a thumbs up, but he is not doing that. So not sure why that's the case. He should be totally doing that. So there's maybe a signal R issue there with Fred. We'll have to take a look at that. Let's see if we can roll some dice. Chaos Bolt. That looks good. Special effects for that are coming up, and we can do attack on that. Roll the dice. Oh, I'm not seeing the damage dice with that, though. Looks like we got a problem with the damage dice coming out there. That's okay, because everything has been... we're changing everything here. Looks like we have a problem with connecting here.
Yeah, there's a few.
In or after the on-connected event has been fired. That's like unusual and strange to me. We're catching those exceptions, but I'm not sure why those are triggering. I'm going to look into that after the stream as well. Let's see what happens here. Oh yeah, the damage dice aren't being set from here to here. So we definitely want to look at that. Why aren't those damage dice being set? The cool things are, though, is that these are all being built automatically here. These pieces right here are all being added here. All these pieces in the special effects as well. I'm just going to run past that. There's so you can see some of the stuff that's going on. So one of the cool things that's happening here, by the way, is the you can kind of see what's happening here. We have special effects that are actually spinning around me, right? If I move up, I'm blocking the path behind me, and if I move down, you can see it kind of go right all the way around me, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff. So anyway,
very snazzy.
So that's kind of what we do. We have these different dice effects here. Like, for example, if I want to say I want to roll 3d12, and I want the damage to be necrotic, I can do that. And that's what we get. We got this kind of these special effects on the dice. So that's necrotic. Oh man, this is gonna sadden my day here if we're every time we're out here on this. Next time I'll try to fix that. Why would this not be working? That's really weird to me. It's like my connection to Twitch is not working. Is what's weird, and no code along in the space has changed that I'm aware of. Here's some fire damage right here, right like this. So the damage dice reflect, and the sound effects, you can hear those too. That's all reflecting what's going on here. This is going to get old fast, isn't it?
Worldwake asks, wait, how can it do 3D? And he's referring to the effects around you, Mark. So I believe essentially the answer is that we're doing those effects in 2 parts, one behind you and one ahead of you.
Yeah.
And we're effectively recording just basically they're built really well.
Yeah, the effects consist of both a front and a back version of the effect, and for some of these, so the effects can actually spin around a live player, right, or be happening both in front and behind them. Yeah, my thumbs up isn't working as well for Fred, so it looks like Fred's going to be quiet. Let's see if we've got if I can give myself some damage here. Is damage working? Damage is also not working. Let me just try refreshing the front overlay one more time. And sending it over just to see if it's... there's the refresh right there. Let's switch over here. Try one more time on damage. Yeah, damage is not working. I feel like it's a Twitch thing, is what I feel like it is. Because in order for damage to work, we're sending it out, and we've been getting that exceptions out over here too, that we're not joined on the channel. So something's wrong with our join here on it. I suppose we could try one more time to do it, but I mean it's kind of off the topic of what I want to do, and so I think I'm going to just fix this later. Is what I think we'll do. All right. So instead, what I want to do though is let's go back to talking about this code. So for folks who joined us, we're doing essentially, I guess you could argue that I've kind of reinvented stored procedures, but I've done it inside of a spreadsheet, and it's actually stored. Yeah, I guess you could say it's stored procedures because they can return both a value, like conditions. All these expressions are going to return a Boolean, right here.
Yeah.
And then you have also these things that we can actually do things with as well, like give advantage, for example. So I was starting to go through and run through the architecture for this. So let's take a look at the architecture. We're over here. We got to D&D function right here. And so it's got a evaluate, okay? And then we've got variable that has a get value. And it's pretty simple, right? That's it. Expressions right here. Here's where I've got some stuff that this is my interface into that, the SEB expression evaluator is what I've got. The key pieces is I've got 2 event handlers on evaluate variable and evaluate function. So when that comes in, I go to my variables and I check to see, hey, do we got something that matches that name? I'm calling that handles, right? Let me just tab the next reference on that so you can see it. That's the thing we saw before, right? And D&D variable just basically checks to see, oh wait, hold on. That's not the one I wanted to jump to. I've got a bunch of these actually. Let's jump into here. No, it's D&D token. Sorry. There's the handles. So just checking to see if the name property matches. But I can descend from this and change it if I want to. Okay? And this is where things start to get really clever. So for evaluate variable, I check to see, hey, along in my list of variables, anything handle that name? And if it does, then I get the player and I just pass it to the get value. Okay? That's all I'm doing. Not too bad. Evaluate function, that's the other handler, right? For the evaluate function right there. When that comes in, I go to my functions and I call the same, hey, do you handle this function by this name? If it does, I get the player again, and then I call evaluate where I pass in the arguments. This is just an event args piece right here. So it's whatever arguments are to the function, which in other words means if I'm calling set as the function, it's going to pass in rage and true as my arguments. See that? Okay, if I call roll dice, it's going to pass in this whole thing right here as my argument. Okay? So call evaluate, and I set that to value. And that's all I do. And that's all I do. Right? So it's super cool. Now, here's where we get super duper cool here in a second here. So that's my core. What will I show you first? Let's just jump into ability variable. It's kind of simple. It's one of the enums. And basically the handles goes like this. I've overridden handles. So now instead of specifying a name, I'm just going to try and parse the token and see if I can get an ability out of it. Right? That's an enum that I've got out here. So I'm just looking for the word strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. or none. If I get it, then I'm going to return back. Then when we call get value, I'm going to do the same step again, and I'm going to return the result, right? So that's all I'm doing for ability. That's all I do. And then all of these are essentially the same for all the major enums that I need to deal with.
Each of them understands the specific way to identify
Yeah.
things that they know how to deal with, and then deals with them typically in a very simplistic manner.
Right.
But it's like you're designing bricks for a wall, or small things that, when assembled together in larger and more complicated structure, will give you an immense amount of power.
Yeah. Now, if you're looking at this, and then if you're looking at these two examples, and also simultaneously looking at this list of classes here in my enums folder, you might be thinking, Mark, why didn't you do a generic class for that? It occurred to me, and here's this thing where architecturally you're weighing different criteria, right? One of my criteria is I wanted it to be brain dead easy to add a new variable or a new function. Okay? Which means I want no registration. No registration. Okay?
Yeah.
The problem with making a generic type is I can't automatically register them. I have to write explicit code to register these elements so that they can be seen. But if I just simply descend this from D&D variable like that, then I don't need to, then I can just grab it and instantiate it using activator.create, I think is the call, using reflection. And I can interrogate my assembly, find all of them, and there's no registration needed. So my compromise was to create a bunch of these very quickly, but I used CodeRushed so it wasn't hard, right? I just selected the pieces I needed to change, which are these two, and the name, 1, 2, 3, copied it to the clipboard. I used multi-select, so it's like, it's going to be like this, actually. Hold on a second. I would do that attack type, and then this attack type, and this attack type. So I'm just using CodeRush's multi-select, CodeRush's copy to the clipboard, and then I can't make changes because we're running. Let's go ahead and stop this whole thing. I'm going to just kill it, and then paste it down here, and then type in my new enum, whatever that's going to be, like ability or something along those lines. So it wasn't hard to make them all quickly, okay? So that's how I did it, and then I used CodeRush's move type to file. So it's just like boom, 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 and I get these done, right? So it's like, okay, so I can get all those done. Then check this out. I've got one more variable here, and this is the one that just takes it over the top. Uses reflection. So at the very beginning, I call, or I guess that's not true. I call get property names, but it's basically if it's done once, it doesn't do it a second time. So it just basically says, hey, have we been loaded up? No? Okay, let's load ourselves up. We come in, we go to type of character. That's the player. We get all the player's properties, and we get all the player's fields. We add them to a list called property names and field names. Okay? In handles, we're just going to call get property names there, and that's going to come in there and check to see if we need it. Then we're going to say, hey, we got that token anywhere? Right? Holy cow. Then if we do, then when you get value, we come in and we say, hey, is it in the fields? If so, let's call get field on it. Just using a reflection, get the value and returning it.
Yep.
Nope. Well, do we got it as a property? If so, let's return it. Otherwise, return null. Right?
Yep.
Once I did that, then I could do, all of a sudden in expressions, I could get the benefit of all kinds of crazy things.
That's literally the Rosetta Stone, though, isn't it? Because now, anytime you want to create a new property for a character, you just go and do it.
Yes.
All right. And the fact that it's reflection-led allows you to then just straight reference it from your CSV anywhere in an existing equation, if you want to phrase it that way, and it will just work.
Yeah, it's beautiful architecture. So that's actually what happened here, right? Damage offset this strike. Well, I needed to add it, so I added it, and then I added it to my class, and now I could use it here. I didn't have to do anything else, right? Because of this one class here. So for variables, I got all my enums and this one right here. So that gives me quick and easy access to everything. Now I had to do a couple shifting around of a couple enums. One of them was the skills enum. Let's go into skills and I'll show you why. The skills enum happens to have the same elements over here. You can do it generically without registration by doing a base class that does what these do, and then each descendant only specifies, the types instead of the repeated code. Yeah, I see that. You're right.
That's true.
I think you could do that.
But you do also maintain a certain degree of, I think they call the solid principles, where in this case you've literally got only one reason to change any of these things. They each, potentially you could rip the guts out of one of them, rewrite it completely differently, decide that that's how you needed it to work, and you'd be able to guarantee that it did not affect the way that any of the others worked, and therefore any bugs introduced should be in this one area.
Yeah, I think there's lots of ways to do it. No, yeah, I like that, Will. That's a good idea. So that would save us basically these two checks right here, right? That we put this in an ancestor class, and then we just in the descendant specify that this type is conditions. I'm not sure about the parse though, how that works with this is a tricky thing, and that I'd have to look this up with in terms of reflection or how I would do this. But yeah, I think Will's right. The approach would still achieve that. I think Will is absolutely right. So yeah, that's a way to clean this up.
A bit more simple.
Yeah. However, we're at this threshold for, is it worth it to push it all the way? And my criteria for success on this baby is moving quickly. So I'm going to say, no, it's not worth it. I'm going to keep these all as I've got here. We've got a note that Will's suggestion is Will's way is better. We're going to, we'll do this, Will says, move all of these into an ancestor class and descendants only specify the type. I like that. We could probably look into that. I'm going to make this a to-do like that. And yeah, so I agree with that. I agree. I'm not sure if we're going to do it or not, but the cool thing about that is that, here's the thing. If I have to ever change this logic, then yes, for sure we would do that. But again, I'm weighing, what's the architectural weight of these classes? It's not heavy, right? It's really not. So, and the likelihood that they're going to change, I would say, is pretty low at this point, but they could. And if I do have to change them, then the work to do all of these, it's going to cost as much to do it today as it will when I need to change them. So I'm going to keep it the way it is. By the way, the weight of this is obvious once you do this. When you open this up right here, you get a sense of the weight, right? Especially when you look at one or two or three of these and you realize they're all the same. So it's not like the weight is hidden, right? In a very long class somewhere. So I'm still like, okay, on this. And I've put that note in the very first one. So we've got that to do there. I'm feeling pretty cool. I'm feeling okay about that. Let's see, we've got a number of these we've opened up. The functions. So now let's look at the functions. So the functions don't have to return a value, and I've got a number of them here. Let's start with set and get. By the way, these are very similar to what's inside of CodeRushed. So in CodeRushed, there is an action called set that you can call from a template where you can set a value to a variable, any variable you want. And there's another, I'm sorry, called an action. It's a text provider. And normally a text provider provides text. It brings that back. I mean, wait, am I totally like, hold on a second. I'm like, I can't believe this, but I'm like, I know I'm using the wrong words here. Hold on a second. I need to go refresh my memory on this by bringing up
a string provider and a text command.
Text command, that's what I was looking for, a text command. Yeah, so string provider is not what I wanted to think about. It's the text command. So you can come in here and you can right click here and say insert a text command. And one of the text commands is, I think, oh no, wait, I'm wrong. They both are string providers. Hold on. So let's do this. Right click up here, insert string provider, and I've got a set and a get. So the get is here. Let's call the set first. So here's the set right there. And we're just going to come in here and give it the parameters. We're going to say set rage equal, comma to true, like that. Okay. And then down here, or in another template we chain out and call to, we can later do something like this. Rage is equal to, and then here we're going to come in and right click it and say insert string provider. And this time we're going to go for the get, like that. And then we're going to ask for the rage variable. So it's very similar to what's in CodeRushed. So if I do that, this is, by the way, our time for Rory to leave template right here. So we type in time for Rory to leave.
For a second there, I thought he was going to kick me out.
And there you can see rage is true. You can see the value of it right down at the end there. right? So it's very similar to what we've already built. Oh, in fact, that kind of works really well for the when you leave, because we collectively rage as a group. So so that works pretty well for the set command, for the set function. And so I've done this here, and I'm just coming in here. Now, one of the things that I did that really also took it over the top is I selectively am essentially recursively recalling evaluate on the arguments. So I can now pass expressions in like this one into a function. Okay? So roll dice out here, if we go look at the roll dice function, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Roll dice is here, and I call evaluate on arg0. Okay? I call expecting arguments like that, and then I call roll the dice. So pretty cool stuff. I'm pretty excited about it, and that's kind of where I left off. Now, what we don't quite have working is we've got some issues that we kind of want and need to fix here. Let's do a restart of this and see if we still have the bugs in the D&D app once we start back up again, trying to control Fred and some of the other buttons. See if we're still having troubles connecting. Let's see. Hold on, I'm missing. Can I ask a CodeRushed question, please? It says ask Surly Dev. Yes, you can do that. Will's way is better. After all they do, say, where there's a way, there's a better Will way. Or something like that. Hey, Mark, can I ask a CodeRushed question? Yes, you can. Roy's already
Essentially, Surly Dev is wondering if he can turn, if there's a refactoring or something similar, to turn a string, I think it's a console write line that has, well, probably the example is not bad, actually. It's not as easy to read in the chat room.
I'm looking at it right here, Rory.
There we go, yeah. So he's got a situation in which the two tokens, the curly 1 and the curly 0, are not in chronological order. So what he'd like to do is to make the 1 into a 0 and the 0 into a 1, so they read chronologically left to right. But in order to make it the same piece of text, he'd like to switch the parameters that are on the right-hand side as well.
Yeah, I got that.
Now, we did used to have a plugin that would support, I think, almost exactly that, but I don't believe it's in the current version of CodeRushed.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was just going to, let me just kill everything. I started it up to run and test, but let's just do that. I'm pretty sure it's not here. Is the answer to the question. I think it was like reorder parameters or something, reorder string items is what I think it was. And the answer is no, it's not here. So let's add that. We had a refactoring to do this. Rory, can you send an email on this?
Yep.
And do this? That would be awesome. We wanted to be able to reorder string format items. I think it should not be hard to get in there. Is what I think. What's the MTTR? What am I missing here? Is something not working on our commands for CodeRushed here? I think looks like they're mark the timer, right? Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, we don't have that as a command. That's an imaginary command that only you have, Surly Dev. All right, fine. I'm going to add it. Mark the timer, right? MTTR, like that, just so that you can do that. Although I've got the code issue, but I'm choosing to ask Rory to do it instead of me because I want to stay focused.
Progress on quicker. Yeah.
All right. So also, I've got test cases all over the place on this thing. I've got about 80-something test cases now. So I'm feeling good about those. And each of those test cases actually test like about 10 things or something like that, like about 5 to 10 things. So it's a sequence of things each of those test cases are doing. So let's see what we got here. Let's initialize the player data. I think I'm going to have to refresh over here one more time. I'm super curious to see if we can control Fred here once we refresh these pages. Let me come back in here one more time. Refresh the front overlay, the back overlay, and the dice. There's the clock adjusting. Here's the data coming out. Let's see. Can we control Fred? Nope. Oh, wait, we can. Nice. All right, good. Fred's in control. Hey. We're in control of Fred again. Let's see, ask the question, do we have drone control? I think we do. Let's see. If I had a drone, mine's flying out. That's awesome. Okay. let's see what else we want to do. Oh, let's see if we've got blood effects here. Let's go switch over to me.
Merkin Bushwhacker.
And let's give me some blood. Okay, you know what? It happened, but I think it was loading. I'm hearing the sound effects, but I'm not seeing it. That was really weird. Yeah, definitely hearing the sound effects. I wonder if it's taking a while to delay load the... there it is. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm not hearing sound effects. There we... I think everything's catching up. It just seems like it's...
Bits and pieces doing well still.
Yeah, okay. So there we go. There's the blood effects. Okay. Not bad. All right.
Zed Panda.
I like how... Oh!
He's in the house.
Jetsom's in the house. Hey, Jetsom. Welcome.
Hey, Jetson.
Glad you're here, buddy. Cool. So let's take a look at the features and what we need to do. I got my to-do list over here in Notepad. Low-level spell type in TypeScript. I wanted to check on that. I can do that later. Test multiple spell slot buttons. I think I'm going to do that maybe later, although we did see that one bug. The bug with the spell slots. And the dice. I think we should maybe look into that. But I wanted to spend most of my time over in the functions, in the features today, and implementing those. That's what I wanted to do. Since we talked about that, let's kind of do that. Let's look at this in a little bit more detail here. One of the other things I did, Rory, by the way, is I added the ability that if you specified like barbarian melee in an expression, that the expression evaluator would also, let's go check that out, all feature functions. It handles basically, handles all features.get token name. And if it can get that, it says, hey, you know what? We've got that. We can handle that feature. And then it calls, on the evaluate, it calls condition satisfied on that feature, which then is going to check to see, hey, if barbarian melee is active or not. Right?
Sure.
So it's basically, we can now ask the question, we can now add the words, hey, dueling in a Boolean expression, and it'll go check and do this one on it right here. Right? It'll take that whole thing and do that out. So it's very cool, right? Our features are acting as Boolean switches, right? As well as features, right? Is second wind on and active? Now it doesn't have any...
So you can check literally half a dozen things before deciding whether or how specifically to calculate one other thing.
Yeah.
And of course, when calculating that one other thing, presuming that you have been given the go-ahead to do so, it can have multiple levels of nest as well. And all of it. I mean, you just imagine as Dungeon Master trying to just, hang on guys, sit there, whoa, I have to sit down and work out whether you're allowed to do that. No.
Or you get it wrong.
And we're done.
Or you get it wrong. Right?
Well, yeah.
This all started as I was, going through and I was looking at...
Careful. Suggesting the Dungeon Master is fallible is a dangerous way to go.
Well, I was looking at some of this stuff and I was like, wait a second. What's happening here with this +5 and the +5? It doesn't actually tell you here. I thought it was just static. And then I went and read somewhere else that, wait, this is coming actually from one of his features, right? So we go down in the feature... You see, you get a +2 melee damage with strength. But look, if you hover over it, it says scale value. What's that? Well, if you read the player's handbook, you start realizing, this is coming from the chart for barbarians, right?
Right.
So wait a second. The barbarian chart, I'll save you time from Googling it, because guess what? It's flipping right here. It's coming from the rage damage field right here. Right, in the barbarian chart. So check out what I'm doing here in the shortcut for the. I'm sorry, not the shortcut. In the feature for barbarian melee, first parameter is damage offset this strike. That's what we are going to modify right here. But check it out. The second parameter is the table function. The table is the first parameter is barbarian, right? In fact, let's look at the code too, so you can see the supporting piece for this. Here's the table access function right here. Table name is the first parameter. The field to look up is the second. The match column and the match value are the third and fourth parameters. So basically I'm saying, hey, I want to look up rage damage from my barbarian table right here. So I'm looking up this column, and the pieces I want to match are, I want to look up level, and the data I want to pass that I want to match to it is level of barbarian, which, you guessed it, I've got a level function in here, right? What's cool, though, is look, there's not much code.
There really isn't, no.
Am I screaming, Rory? Because it's pretty flippin' exciting. I add a little bit of code, right? And now I'm able to calculate the barbarian melee damage offset, right? Whatever that is, an offset damage the strike. So now check out my test case on this. My test case is somewhere on this. Yeah, I was screaming as I was writing this. I think it was Sunday, as I recall. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's going to be in my test cases down here. And I've got some function tests right here. And, well, these are cool up here. They should kind of show you it. Where is it? I really want to see it. I've said it exists. Well, I thought it exists. Maybe it doesn't exist yet. I want to look for Barbarian Rage. Let me see if I can find it here. Barbarian Rage. It's not here.
Huh.
Oh, Barbarian Melee.
Melee.
Let's see if it's here. Melee, still not here. All right, maybe I haven't written the test case. Well, let's write the test case for it.
Fair enough, yep.
Let's do it. I'm running. Let's shut this down. Shut down the app. All right, so here's my new test case. And we're going to say test Barbarian Melee. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to get our character Fred. Now, Fred is, that's checking armor class. I'm not going to worry about armor class right here. But I'm going to say Fred dot, what do I want to do? Features. This is just a list of strings. I think I want to turn it into something different. I had a dream about this morning. Let's change it into something different.
You know the new obsession is going well when you wake up from a dream having thought of a new idea to code,
yeah, we're going to fix it.
Even implemented it, right?
Yeah, we're going to fix it right now. You're going to love this, I think. I'm going to love it. Let's go into D&D function. No, it's feature. Sorry. Hold on. It's, I think, in core classes. No. All items, feature. Right here. So, I've got a list string, a string list called parameters. I'm going to create a new one. This is my dream. That says args. Right here. I'm living the dream actually right now. So parameters are what we get from the piece out there, the piece in the outer world right here. Args are what we get in the instance. Oh wait, should I do it this way? Let's do it this way instead. Let's create a new class called assigned feature. And we're going to add args there. And it's going to also have a property of type feature. So we'll just bring this up here like this. Feature right there. Jetsam says I'll be sure to monitor my altitude next time. My apologies. Yeah, you're flying in low. Okay, Jetsam today it was low. So try to just a little higher, please. Will Bennett says the same thing. I'm going to have the FDAA give you a ticket for flying too low. You took all Mark's hair off. True. All right, so here's our assigned feature. So it's going to have a list of args. And this is necessary because in the definition of it, I'm just defining what the parameter is. But in the usage of it, right here, these are the features. And you can see for Fred, I've defined them. One of them is Barbarian Melee Strength. So that's the arg. Strength is going to go there. Okay, see it? So that's what we're going to do. Now, the assigned feature, I'm going to take this. Let's move it to its own file. And I'm not sure what the constructor looks like this for this yet. Let's go to the character, which is the player right here. And here we've got this. Show's going to rock now, kids, because Codebase Alpha's with us. Hey, Codebase Alpha.
Codebase Alpha.
I hope you never ever start coming. You never stop coming in, Codebase Alpha, because that intro makes me so happy every time. That fanfare for you makes me super happy. Pudding's out there as well. Pudding, I need a fanfare for you. Also, I started work on one for Frackberg. But I started to get a little nervous as I was, getting litigiously close to copyright violations for Battlestar Galactica. So we'll see what happens with that.
I gotta say, I love how Codebase Alpha's intro looks, especially with the drones. They take on a very spaceship kind of quality when it's going.
You're right.
Very nice.
You're right. They do. All right. So let's go look in here. In the character, somewhere in here, I've got this features string list. Let's get rid of that. Let's see how are we building that. Get features. Okay, cool. Cool. We're going to change results into a list of assigned features, like that. Sweet. And we're going to go do the same thing here for features as well. That's looking awesome so far. Now, here we're going to have a problem. We'll have to come back and fix this later. An activate feature, we're going to have a problem. I'll drop a marker here just to remind us to come back here. Get features. We're going to do something in here. So, these are the features, the list of features. Result.add. So here's what we need to do. What I want to do is I want to say results.add, and then I want to say assigned feature.from and pass in the string. Like that. That's what I think I'm going to do. So this is going to be the trim feature. So we're splitting by semicolons. So you'll see up here into my spreadsheet, I've got semicolons between all the features. So the rules are a feature can have commas in it because it might have multiple parameters, but a feature can never have a semicolon in it, including inside of a string. I can never pass a semicolon. So I'm like, okay, cool. In fact, I think up here I added a comment that says separate feature with semicolons. Look at me thinking about me in the future. When I come in,
past you was really helpful.
Yeah. Past me was helpful because future me is going to be like, what? What do I do? So, so good. So let's go declare this and create this, and we're going to say, okay, assign feature from. So this trim feature, this is going to be the feature feature name. Then I think I'm going to do something like this: feature name dot index of, and we're going to pass in open paren. Declare a new local for that. Oh, look at that. I want to totally, hold on a second. I need to do a CodeRushed thing for this because I saw this before. And I just want to mark this. It's not going to be repeatable. So I need to get that and show that. Let's send that to Alex. Let's roll back time by about 30 seconds. Hopefully this will all work. Roy, mark the time if it does not. Declare local did nothing. We'll say that, but select. And so it was really fast, guys. I hit enter or something right after it. There it is right there. Let's see. It looks like the log issue is successful. So that's going to give our developers a link to this stream. We are live dog fooding CodeRushed, and so that's kind of what just happened there. Instafluff's out here. Instafluff, we're so glad to see you. Is his drone working? Are you? I see some drone commands. Has been moving around? All right, cool.
Floating around, having fun.
So I'll do it one more time. It works the second time. The first time it did not. I'm not sure if it's a performance issue, like I'm coming in too fast, right, or what. But if you look at the tape, if you roll back about a minute from right now, you'll see that it selects a portion of it and does nothing when I choose introduce local. So it's like
I reckon the portion that got selected is about the size of that default variable name as well.
It absolutely is. It's right where it should have been.
It believed it had placed the code in place and then had still gone ahead and highlighted it. So something was working, something wasn't.
So check the log files. Those should be all attached. Roy, can you verify you got the email already? That would be awesome.
Look at that, yeah.
You said you're looking at it already? You got it? Or no?
I am not yet, no,
Okay.
but then my email's on a bit of a delay. I'll check anyway, though.
No worries. So I'm going to say, I need to come in here and I say, hey, look, if paren index is greater than or equal to 0, if we got something, then I want to say, I want to process the arguments. So we're going to say, we're going to feature name dot everything well, I guess we need to do two things. We need to get everything before that, and that's going to be equal to, let's do declare local again. That's going to be equal to the I guess I'm just going to access, just reassign to feature name like that. No, I can't do that. I've got a feature stripped name like this. Maybe we'll call it that. Is equal to that, and then we're going to say arguments is equal to feature name dot everything after. And these, by the way, everything before and everything after, if you're looking at those are extension methods that I added because I was like, oh, you know what? I kind of need that. So I've got a number of string extension methods in here that just make the code a little simpler so I don't have to write so much code for things I do that are common. So I've got an everything before and everything after in here. So now I've got my arguments, my feature strip name, and now I should be able to, now for my arguments, I want to say arguments.split. And I want to split on the comma. So again, I'm not supporting, it's real simple. I'm not supporting commas and strings. Let's declare local again. And then we're going to say arguments like that. And then we're going to do a for each in here. What is that? Okay, note the time again. I'm going to do another CodeRushed issue right here. That doesn't look right to me at all. It looks like the type is wrong. Double checking that. We're going to include Alex on this and roll back 30 seconds. Looks like the type is wrong. Expecting a string.
It's almost like it hasn't detected it's an array of strings and thinks it is a single string, and thus that would be valid to iterate through the chat characters of.
Yeah, I don't even get that. Let's do it one more time. Copy that to clipboard and do it a second time. FE. I bet it works. Oh, it's still not working. What? All right. Well, it's repeatable at least. You guys can take a look at that. You guys have the logs. Did you verify the other email came through, Rory?
I did not get that yet. I did a specific look for it, but no. As a result, I missed your actual typing of this code. Did you declare the type a string array there, or was that done by CodeRushed?
Oh, hold on.
Because actually,
hold on.
Arguments.split.
I've got two. It is right.
Use.
It's not a problem because I've got the same thing twice here. Is what I've got here. So I want to change this to argument string like that, and this here. CodeRushed was okay.
There we go.
It wasn't CodeRushed. It was me. All right, so now it's correct. All right, so each argument inside of there. Okay, good. Now, next what I want to do is I want to say, hey, all features dot get and pass in the feature strip name. And then we're going to call this the feature like this. And I think to simplify the code a bit, I think I'm going to split this, split initialization from declaration. Widen scope up a bit so it comes right up there. And then if it's over here, I'm just going to, if we don't have any parens, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say, well, I want to get it just from the feature name, like that. And now I also want to do the same thing here as well, split this and widen that scope, bring it up there. And, but this time I want to set it equal to null. And then I want to come down here and I want to say, hey, if not null, then I want to go into feature and say feature dot, oh no, wait. Then I want to say, I think I'm okay just saying return assigned feature dot from. I'm going to create another from right here is what I think I'm going to do. And I am going to pass in the feature and the arguments, I think is what I'm going to do like that. And so I'm going to take that out there, do this, create one more from, and now let's do this, declare that. And so we're going to say we want to create a new assigned feature like this, declare local. Then we're going to come in and say assigned feature dot feature is equal to feature. And then we're going to say assigned feature dot arguments. Args is equal to arguments dot, is there two lists on this baby? I think there is, like that. And that'll turn it into a generic list. And then we're going to say return. Okay, so that's how we get an assigned feature. So now that I have this assigned feature, what's cool about this now is that when back we go to our all features function, calling condition satisfied, is that right? Inject parameters, is this what I really want to do? The args are coming into it. The args are here. What's going on with this? No, it's not all features, is it? How am I getting the args in here? Strength is coming in. It is coming in like this. Wait, it's not here. It's in the action shortcuts, I think, is what it is. Some of these are going to be action shortcuts, is what I think. Okay, this is officially my favorite stream now, says Pudding.
Cool.
Right. Is that because I'm like totally flummoxed and not sure what to do right now? Because I'm like, doy.
This is what real programming is like. You do not know everything all the time.
I'm thinking, well, my dream made sense when I had the dream. I need to add it, but I'm not looking at this now, and the all features function is not where I need it because the args are already passed in and specified. It's the replacement. I'm trying to figure out the replacement. Oh, the replacement is happening elsewhere, I think. I have to find the replacement piece where that's happening. Hold on a second. I think it might be coming in the here.
What he's doing?
The arguments. Oh man, it's not here. I was hoping to find the stuff that takes the ability and replaces it. Where is that? It might be in feature. Oh, it's in here, I think, is where it is. Hold on a sec. Yeah, let's go up in here and look at parameters and where that's used. Here, inject parameters. Okay, so inject parameters is here, and it takes the list of parameters that are in there. So if I specify strength in quotes, it's going to just do a one-to-one piece right there where it looks for the search string, which is going to be ability with a $ in front of it, and puts in the replace string, which is strength, and puts it in. So inject parameters, and that's called in essentially every place that I am evaluating my on activate, or my on deactivate, and my also my conditions as well. Condition satisfied, where I pass in the args right there. So condition satisfied is here. The assigned feature, this is when, so the idea here is, oh, I know where I want this. I want this in my character. Hold on, we're getting there. This is where I'm getting it. Okay, so here we're adding it in here. These are my get features. This is where I wanted to be. Here's my features. Here's where the activate feature, this is where I wanted to be. And so now what I want to do is I want to say these features, by the way, are assigned features. So now I should be able to, this is going to be an assigned feature like that. And first or default. Now I need to see if the feature name string is matching. And what I really need, I need a fast way to say one string case insensitively matches another, because I don't like all this code. Well, I also have got the get clean item name. Get clean item name is pulling out commas and some other things too. So it's just basically getting everything up until the first comma, open paren or open bracket. So clean item name is kind of fair to call on this, because I'm using these things to, like, say greatsword comma +1, or chaos bolt with brackets to indicate which spell level it's shooting at. So, and I'm calling to lower.
Bear in mind that you're not actually working with strings anymore. Your assigned feature contains a string.
Yeah, no, I got it.
But,
I'm getting there. Sorry, I'm like it's feature.name is what it is. To lower there. So that's kind of the match there, and then we want to say if it's null, then we get out. Now, here's what's going on here with the parameters here. Parameters. Join parameters, join. We're getting all of those parameters that we're calling activate. And I don't like any of these and at all. This is what I wanted to clean up. I basically want to do something like this. I want to say, I just want to make sure we're not using a feature name stir anywhere else. Just those two places. Good. All right. So all of this I essentially want to get rid of. And all the way to here. Because this is just creating a list of parameters. I don't want to do any of that. What I want to do is I want to say found feature dot activate. And I want to pass in our arguments, which is, I don't need to because it's already got the arguments in it. So that's what I want to do. So I want to kill all of this. I'll keep that commented out for now. Let's do this. When we want to... Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Oh, yeah, but we're getting there.
I'm working my way through it. Bringing the character in, calling activate on it. And so now we're going to say... feature dot activate, and it's looking for parameters, and I guess that's a comma separated list. So we're going to say arguments, args dot join, passing a comma in there, and the character right there. That's what we're going to do. What's wrong with join? What is it not like here? No overload for join takes one argument. What am I missing here? Am I totally, wait, what's going on? What was I using out over here in my join call? Oh, I was doing string.join, comma, parameters. Yes. That's what it is, sorry. Okay. String.join, comma, parameter, the args. That looks like it's going to work. Let's change this to player. And I think that's the fix. I think what I want to do is let's go into the test runner and just run everything and just make sure everything's still passing.
Always a good thing.
Or see if we've broken anything.
I reckon this will be good.
Ever the optimistic, Rory. Oh, that doesn't look good at all.
It's not so good.
Like at all.
Combat damage, event, feature functions.
I can't believe all of these are
Wow.
are dependent on this.
You done broke a lot.
It's like the data, it can't get the data is what it's looking like. It looks like the data is the all.
We come across something like this just the other day. You know, we altered some smaller stuff that was going to operate based on some loaded data, but for some reason the data didn't load. Did we damage the CSV file at some point?
These are all the files right here. This item says it's ignored. Okay, well the data is there. What's going on? Guess let's step into this method and see if we can get a better sense of this. Let's debug that. Yeah, I can't imagine the changes we made impacted the code like this. All right, so I'm stepping in.
Bang. Straight away.
Okay, let's initialize. Maybe this could be the cause, like that. Okay, let's stop it and restart.
From are null, I guess.
Wait, what'd you say?
The incoming arguments for the from method.
Oh,
so
it was.
from wherever that was
Oh,
being
you're
called.
right. You're right. It wasn't the args problem was wrong. It was here. Okay, sorry about that. All right, I totally misread that. Rory, this is why you're here, to help me. This is why getting 5 hours of sleep is not as good as 8 or 7 even, or 6 I'll take. All right, so I want to do if not null. Yeah, now I'm thinking, okay, maybe it could be that way. And is args, are we checking it anywhere on this thing where we're expecting this thing? Join.
Certainly join. So yeah.
Is join going to be dependent on it? You know what?
I reckon we should initialize to something.
Yeah, I'm feeling it too. I'm gonna kind of.
So in fairness, that's what you were just about to do.
Well, I did it and then I got rid of it. But I used the CodeRushed template here, NINST, comma, new inst like that. So it's one of our longest template names because we couldn't think of anything that wasn't going to conflict with all the other end templates for new instance. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Build cancel, go over to the test runner, and try one more time. Crossing my fingers. Let's see what happens this time. Yeah, I'm starting to see that could cause a problem because anything that had anything to do with any features would fail.
Yep. Ooh, success. Hey,
All right.
Look at that, all green.
All right, so everything's good. Let's go back to the test case we were looking at specifically not too long ago. Down over here.
I am noticing, Mark, that on lines 36 through 39 on that previous file, you have nothing happening per argument. There's a for each that's entirely empty.
Yeah. Did I just not implement that? It looks like that's entirely what I didn't do. I failed to do. All right, you're right. Let's fix that. So assign feature isn't. Don't I have args in here? Oh, it's static. Okay, hold on. So, oh wait, that's okay. Here, I'm just getting them set up. Yeah. And then inside my second from, right here, we just calling toList on it to just break it up.
So it was an unnecessary loop.
Yeah, it was something I was doing and then I changed it at the last minute. All right, so that explains why that empty thing in the code we just wrote doesn't matter. I want to go back over to function. What program are you using to code with? Daisy
Combination.
I. Go ahead, Rory, if you want to tell them.
Well, it's a combination. We're using Visual Studio, I believe it's 2019, which is the latest version of Visual Studio. But more importantly, we're using a plugin called CodeRushed, which Mark and I, the company we work for, DevExpress, is indeed the company behind it. Designed essentially to make you more productive, to make you better at what you already do, to allow you to spend your cognitive load on actual business problems rather than silly semantic rubbish, which we all forget from time to time.
Yep.
Makes everything just that little bit easier.
Yeah, and we are live dog fooding it. So if we see an issue, we're reporting it. If we have a feature request, we take care of it. And we answer your CodeRush questions. If you're in Visual Studio using CodeRush, we'll do that as well. So Barbarian Strength Melee. Let's see. Let's look at that feature. I think that's the one, Barbarian Melee. So I wanted to call activate on Barbarian Melee. Normally it's got conditions that determine whether it's going to be activated or not. Oh, it's Michael Jolly. Whoa.
Hey.
Speaking of flying low, Michael Jolly flies a little pretty low because you want to watch it. You don't want to run into somebody who says, oh, man. I felt like I was about to tell him to pull up. Pull up, Michael
Just
Jolly.
a little late for the warning, eh?
Yeah, pull up, Michael Jolly. You got to do that. That's Michael Jolly. You got to check out his stream. He's like, whereas Roy and I are, amateurs extraordinaire, Michael Jolly is a well-coiffed professional. And he burns candles. on his stream, and you can almost smell the scent wafting off of the monitor. So yeah, check out his stream, The Michael Jolly, on Twitch. If you haven't checked him out, he's a lot of fun to watch. Okay, let's see, Barbarian Melee. How do I want to do this? I want to check to see if damage offset to the strike is adjusted. So I want to activate it. I want to call activate, which is going to call on activate on it. So that's what I want to do. I want to say Fred dot activate feature. Look at this. And I want to say Barbarian Melee. Look at that. Sweet.
That's good.
Now, it's a test case, so I want to go grab damage offset this strike. And I want to verify that that's going to be 0. I'm pretty sure that's a property name. I better... What? No! Did I change it to this something else? This roll. Okay. So that means I got to come in here. This is the only problem, is my rename.
That's the only downside with the reflection-based stuff, is that we can rename stuff on the class, and it won't automatically rename the stuff in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's a different refactoring. So, but we're kind of in development, so it's okay that we're making these changes right now. Also, we're going to create test cases like crazy because, that's what we do. So I want to make sure that this is, do I have an assert 0? No? Looks like I did not. So I guess I have an assert equals. Is there an assert 0 in here? Is 0? There is not. Okay. So we'll just come in with the R equals. And the expected value is 0. Damage offset this roll. Then we want to come in here and let's check the chart. Fred's a level 5. Well, wait, Fred is, so this is actually crazy. Fred, this is crazy. Fred is a level 5, but he is a fighter level 4 and a barbarian level 1. Okay? Which means over here in players, guess what's happening? We're doing that. You get 2 classes. Your class 1, and you get your level. So here's fighter for Fred, and he's barbarian level 1 right there. So that's class 2. So when we calculate that feature, I think the damage offset, we're getting it from the rage damage, and the level is barbarian. So we're taking Fred's barbarian level, which is level 1, going into the rage damage. He's level 1, even though he's level 5. So we should see rage damage coming back at 2. That's what we should see. So
our expectations now.
Yeah. So now what we want to do is after we've done that, that should be a 2 afterwards, right? Like that. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but let's see. And if it doesn't, we'll debug it. Let's run it.
Drum roll.
Failed.
Not so much this time. Okay.
Through an exception. Unknown in expression.
Because you didn't save the spreadsheet down as a CSV file for everything to run against after you changed what was written.
Oh, right. Damage offset the strike. Exactly. That's what it was. Thanks, Rory. I love how Rory's often like, oh, it's this mark. So this piece right here becomes damage offset this roll. Thanks, Rory, for that. That's great. I feel like I was maybe behind you by a minute. It would have taken me a full minute. So features right there. And this is in our regular one, but I've also got another folder called test data, where I'm putting the same files. And at some point, I'll freeze the test data. And just for the sake of the test cases passing, just want to make sure I've got the right file name I'm replacing. Yes, replace. Let's try running it again. See if we get a little closer, or at least a different error message. All right, got another fail. Let's see what we got now. Get the same error.
Well, it is at least calling the correct or an adjusted value, should we say? Unknown in expression. Barbarian rage damage level. Barbarian. Barbarian is written in quotes. Will that cause any issues?
I think the problem is. No, wait. Well, let's set a breakpoint. Let's just dive in. Let's go into it. Let's go into it and see what happens. We'll debug it.
Fair enough.
What's this clip Codebase Alpha sent me? And this here. CodeRushed was okay.
There
All
we
right.
go.
It wasn't CodeRushed, it was me. All right. So there, now it's correct. Yeah, okay. All right. That's awesome. That's awesome, Codebase Alpha. All right. So let's go into Activate Feature. See what we got. All right. So let's jump in here. Whoa.
Hang on. There's a closing brace inside, or closing parenthesis inside that value.
Yeah.
That should not be there.
Let's look at args. Yeah. What's going on? I gotcha.
So when we parse out the args in the first place, we just got off by 1, I guess. We're copying everything after.
Well, copying everything after, but then we're not checking to see if it's got that trailing piece in there. So we need to do something kind of like this. Whoops. That. Get the ending piece like that. I could reuse it. And then if that is greater than or equal to 0, come on. Michael Jolly says, keep the pudding. Tacos then pudding, yummy. Michael Jolly says, keep the pudding. Give me more tacos. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling both of you guys, man.
I like tacos and pudding.
I'm just going to say, I think we can achieve peace, and
how about tacos, then pudding, then more tacos?
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to come in here and we're going to say, well, okay, now argument string, if the parendex is greater, then we're going to say we want argument string everything before. Like that. The closing paren. And so again, so there's certain things we cannot have passed in. We can't pass any strings that have commas or parens in them into the arguments, but I don't anticipate that being a problem. So it's a very simple kind of thing going on here. Now that we've got that, then we do the split. So we're going to go ahead and I think I'm just going to run and let this go. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's go back one more time and see what we get now. We getting any closer? We're going to get a different error this time. Let's just run it. Let's see. Oh, man. Pudding's like, oh wait, Des is like, got some nacho icons out there. Those are awesome.
Nice.
Those are like my favorite. These are my favorite. Pudding's like, don't eat me. Heard my name, don't eat me. Codebase Alpha's cooking masaman curry. Could I make tacos from that? Pudding says, I don't see why not. And Codebase Alpha's like, and pudding too. What do we got? Another fail? What do we got? Different?
Fail. Same. Okay, we're going to have to debug
Offset.
it again.
Wait. Function.
I think that's the same error as before.
Offset. Oh, the function offset is unknown. Because I didn't write out a function called offset yet. Sweet. You get to watch me do that live. Let's do that. Let's get something relatively small here as a base. Level's kind of a small one to create from. And I'm just going to copy that clipboard, paste down here, and we're going to call this offset. Yeah. Or, yeah. I think we're going to do it. That's what I'm going to do.
I have this feeling that offset is going to be possibly the coolest thing we've done this afternoon.
Okay.
Do you know why I think that?
Why?
Because it's going to be something that's done just after I leave.
Oh. That's sad.
Therefore,
You know what, Roy,
sorry.
you can do, by the way? You can send a music command, bang music, when it's time for you
That's
to go.
an interest. Yeah, I think you mentioned that before. It's not a bad plan, actually. It's
And
a
then
subtle.
We'll hear the music. And we'll be like, wait, something's about to happen. Let's see. What do I want to do here? I want to call this. This first one is the value. All right, Roy. It is going to be super cool. Can't
All right.
wait till
We'll
tomorrow. We'll tell
catch
you
you tomorrow
all
and
about
keep
it.
up. We'll catch up all over again. All right, then.
Thanks so
See ya.
much, Roy. Bye, buddy. All right. So there's our value, and I'm calling evaluate on as well, so I can have for offset have another expression passed into it. And then what we're going to do, offset. We're actually expecting two arguments. The first one is the property or the property name. This is going to be a string, actually. And this is going to be property name, property or field name. That's coming in there. And our second one is going to be, an object. And it's going to be the value, like that. And I think I'm going to call evaluate on it as well. That's going to be arg1. And let's move this to its own class. This is super interesting music. What's our genre? This is techno? Sounds like bedtime music. What's going on in the chat room? Na 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 na. Hey hey. Goodbye. Oh, Daisian41i is actually typed in the word bang. You just have to, when I say bang, I just mean the exclamation mark. Just the exclamation mark and then the word music, and you can do that. You can also change the genre just by typing in, I think you just type in like bang techno, I think. Is that right or no? Maybe I'm wrong. Switch to EDM here. It's genre, bang genre, and then EDM or whatever genre you want to go to next. And then when the song's done, it'll switch to that genre. Okay, let's see here. Property or field name is there. So we need to use reflection now to modify this value, I think. Let's see what the value, it does the, I'm going to change this to variable name like this. Does the evaluator have a list of variables? Sweet, it does. It does. So we're expecting a number here for the second value. So offset is going to do plus or minus is what it's going to basically do. So it's got to work with properties, and it's got to work with fields, and it's got to work with the existing custom variables that we add. So our test case for this, so we need, I'm going to come back here a second, but let's go out to the tests for the functions. And I'm going to create another test, call it test offset. And I want to have a expressions .do set rage, nope, set count, call it rage count, set it equal to 1, set it equal to 0, like that. And then assert equals 0, comma, expressions dot get int on rage count. No, I got to do, yeah, is that going to work? No, I have to use a get on this. The reason why is because when I call set here, it actually adds the variable to the character, to the player character. In which case, I need to actually create a new player for this. So we'll use Fred again. So there's that, comma, there's the character, comma, there's the character, boom. Then I want to call offset rage count by 1, like that. Then I want to check to see if that's 1. That's my test for what we're building right now. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So we've got, now we got to be able to work with a couple different things. Hold on, up here. It's where we had a bunch of these I think I kind of need this code. Or not. Maybe not. Let's do this instead. Okay, so we're going to come down here and we're going to say, look, let's also do this. Let's change this to a double. And then I want to do, I've got a math utils out here, I think. Dot get double. Shoot. Can I do this to string? See if that works. So get double takes a string in. Oh yeah, no, it's just totally expecting a string. I think this is going to work. I think this is going to work. So there's my value as a double. Use reflection here. I want to check to see if I got a field. If field's not null, then I'm good. Then I'm going to say field dot set value, comma, field dot get value plus the value. And I think I'm going to try that. Typecasting it to a double. No, doesn't like that. Well, I can do the thing I did above here, where I was calling get double on it. ToString. Get a ToString. There's a little extra conversion here. There's probably a faster, cheaper way to do this, but I'm not sure what it is. Deathpack says player gets variable name. Oh, maybe down here. This is some code I pasted in. I'm gonna clean this up in a second, I think. Hold on. So set value. What's my trouble here? Oh, sorry, there's a return right here. I don't want to return here. I want that. And let's get out. That's our we're out of here. Then I want to duplicate all of this, and I want to change this to property info. Property. That. This is going to be get property. And we got the set value. I think everything else is the same. I think I want to do this though. I want to say what my, well, I can't do that actually. I can't really consolidate these. Okay, so there's that. Then, if that fails, I want to go into the character, the player. And also we should check to make sure the player is not null. Because if the player is null, we're out of here. Okay, and now there's the variables. Get variable. Nope. We had the variables in there. States. Set state and get state. Sweet. All right. Let's add a real music playlist, says Daisy and 41i. Well, we can't do that because of copyright issues. But if you want a playlist, yeah, no, can't really do that. Because we can't do copyright stuff because what'll happen is we'll get muted. Okay, at least the video on demands will be muted. So let's see the VODs. Okay, existing raw. So we found it. If that's the case, then we're going to call player.setState. We're going to do that same mathutils.getDouble of variable name. Should I check to see if it's an int? And do something different? I think I need to. Oops, do string. Value right there. Whoops, I got something wrong in here. It's not variable name, it's existing raw value. Yeah. Sometimes I get muted anyways, just frac for Twitch is so weird. What's the word with MTCB licensing mark? What's MTCB? Must be long. Music to code by. Oh, right. I just have to take a step to do it. I got permission from Carl to do that. I'm going to make another note for but I haven't followed up with him and collected the list yet. Do we all need to email Carl and tell him to say yes? No, he said yes. He said it's a bit pricey to get the streaming license. Carl and I have a long relationship with each other where it's we both kind of owe each other so much. It's kind of a wash. So yeah, Mondays, exactly. Okay, so let's see what do we got here. We're getting closer, I think, to string. There's my get double right there, plus a value. So assuming every number is every custom number we put in there is a double, I think that's going to be okay. I feel like I should check to see if it's an int and preserve it. If existing value is int, and if you're calling this plus, it's either going to be a double or an int, one of the two. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say change this to get int, like that. And then we're going to call this value is going to be we're going to do a typecast of, dare I do a math.round? I don't know, like that. Else, we're going to do that. Just feeling a little music to code by, a little MTTB. All right. All right, so I think that's it. Let's see if by chance our test case runs here. Test offset. I'm feeling a fail, but I'm not sure where it is. Never know. All right. Oh, on this reach count unknown in expression. I think I need a variable class out here, a descendant of the variable here. We've got character properties here. But we don't actually go into the player and get the other pieces. So let's do this as well. So get property names, we're going to add one more piece right here. We're going to call these our custom field names. that true or no? No, because these, unlike properties and fields, can change on the fly. We need to get them all the time. So, let's see. That's going to require a change to the declaration of this because right here. Hold on. If we're going to be able to work with the player's custom variables, we need to pass it in to the handles. So I've got like about 20 of these out here. So I'm going to come in here and choose CodeRushed add parameter, specify player like that. And we're going to have to make the same change down here. And there it is right there. And I'm just going to hit Control Enter, and it's just going to accept them for all of those as my default values everywhere. And so now we made that change everywhere. We just need to come down here and put this here like this. Then we need to go back to that character property, and we need to come in here and do something like this. Introduce local. No, wait, maybe I don't want that. I just want to do a using selection increase cutting, and then if that, then we're going to say return true. Now, if we don't have that, then what we want to do is we want to check to say if player is not null, then player dot get value, get state, rather, of token name is not 0, then we want to return true. So it's that, essentially. All right, cool. Next, come down here, and we're going to add this piece right here. And this is going to be variable name now. And now, I think we got a shot of this working. Let's see. I opened all those files to my test. I lost the easy access to my test. It was here. So we're getting closer. Nope. Unable to cast object of type system due to system.string. Okay. I think I know where that is. That's in it's in our offset. I think this is our problem right here. I think that's our problem. See if that works. Daisy and 41i has figured out volume up and down. Still fail. Still unable to. All right, let's set a breakpoint and figure out where that is. Debug it. Ooh, expression's got to get int on it. That's kind of cool. That's kind of the one I was thinking about. Okay, that's where we were. We're going inside here now. All right. Where's my string? Oh, here. Because I'm expecting the string coming back. All right. Frankfurt, yeah, but then my air guitar sessions stop and the dog can relax. And we can't let the dog relax. Yeah, Frankfurt's got a very large puppy. All right, I think I want to change this to object, maybe? Let's see how that works. I think if we hit F10, then we can come back up here and try it again. Okay, now I've got it, the variable name of 0. Wait, why is that the case? Why is... Oh, because I evaluated rage count. I know what's happening. It went in and asked the value of rage count. I need to put rage count in quotes, I think, to make this work the way I want to. Because I'm not actually getting the variable name. Or alternatively, I just do this. I say args of 0. I killed the evaluate on this. That might make more sense. So there's no evaluate on it. Let's come back up here and do that. Kobe Alpha says, I'm practicing silent piano chords on my MIDI keyboard better than air guitar. GFC. GFC are key in just about like so many songs. All right, so now we got this instead. Wait, why is variable name 0? Oh, come on. That should not be right. How about now? What? I don't get this. Rage count is clearly that. Oh, edit and continue is not working. That's what's happening. Okay. That's why it's not changing. I wonder if I come up here at all. Can I get that? Nope. 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 All right. So this run's not going to work. Just going to run it. And let's come back in. Do it one more time. I almost feel like if I run it, it's going to work. Let's just try that. Kind of working our way through some syntax errors here, it seems like. Hey, look at that. It worked. All right, sweet. That means we can also extend this test, right, to create something new, like, for example, my offset. And let's make it a 4. And then, whoops, let's say my offset, like that. And then, let's try that. Whoops. And then we're going to do my offset. And now we should go from 1 plus 4 to 5, I think, is what I'm expecting. So rage count plus 1 gets me to a 1 here. And rage count, which is now at a 1, plus my offset, which is 4, should get me to a 5. I'm not sure if this is going to work. I think this is going to work. Let's see what happens. Put the distortion on and call it metal. To be fair, pretty sure the air drumming makes my wife think I'm having a psychotic break. Now I'm playing Waltzing Matilda. Pudding, we all suck when we start. Put the distortion on and call it metal. I just suck all the time. That's my special skill, this pudding. Kids, look at that. We passed in 6 seconds. Cool. That's awesome. All right, so offset is now working. I wonder if this thing's getting any closer to working here. Activating feature. Could damage offset this roll actually work? Let's see. Run the test. Here's the drum roll. Oh, it failed. What do we got? System double cannot be converted to system int.32. Let's step into it. See what's going on. Yeah, this is this thing. We're kind of inventing this way of working with numbers that's somewhat similar to TypeScript. And so we're running into some issues there. Let's just see what those issues are. somewhere down here and activate. I don't know. What if I run it with debug? Is it going to tell me where the exception is? There's the table call. Here's where it is, yeah. Okay. Can it convert? So we need some field is int32 and I'm sending it a double. Got it. Okay. So we need to figure out what the type is on this. We need something here that says, hey, if field dot, what have we got here? Declaring type and member type. I have a feeling they're both the same. Nope, maybe not. Declaring type. Nope, that's not what I want either. What am I looking for here? Whoops. Come on, IntelliSense. Field type. I bet that's it. System int32. Okay, so if we're in 32, then we're going to do that. We're going to have one line of code, and then otherwise, we're going to use this line of code. So this is going to be get int on the get value to string plus value as an int. And I think I'm going to have to, I'm doing math.round on this, I think is what I'm doing. But presumably the data we send it, if we're dealing with ints, will just be single int anyway, so the round will have no impact on it. So I think it's looking like that. That's our code, which also means we need similar code here. If property, and I bet there's a property type. There it is, right there. And this is going to be if it's an int. And property. A player, I feel like that's all good. And then we have this code here, which is already doing essentially the exact same thing. We can clean up this little bit right here. And we're going to call this value int. Like that. Declaring type is the class. You can just use convert.convert2. I believe that's the class and the method. I'm worried though. I'm super worried about my pluses and my adding the right types together and all of that stuff. I'm worried about it. Let's test this. I'm going to put a to-do in here, Will. Will says convert.convert2. Yeah, I've used this in the past, but yeah, because I'm like storing these things out there, really they're stored as objects. I don't know, I'm just worried. I agree with you though. It is, let's change this to value double, like this, and let's put this close by that. All right, we'll take a look at that maybe later. All right, so let's now see how that works with our function test out here. See if we're getting closer. Maybe a different error. Oh, can we come back up? I forgot we were debugging in here. Insert equals failed. It's expecting 2, got 0. All right. Let's try. I want to run it one more time. Just make sure I get that same error because we were kind of making some changes while we were going through it.
McLovenuts!
Looks like I thought I hit F5. Maybe I did. That's probably what I did. Okay, let's go back over here one more time. Run the test. Look at that, guys. That passed. Sweet. So what we just did, super cool, right? We've got Fred. We're checking his damage offset this roll. It's 0. Then we activate the feature Barbarian Melee. And the complexity here is pretty high, right? Barbarian Melee for Fred is listed here in his features, and it's specified as strength as the parameters. So then we go to the features. We see ability as the parameter defined here. We pass substitute ability with strength. We don't actually see ability here. That's coming over in its conditions right here. So we need to check the condition is what we really need to do, is verify the condition is true. That's like kind of the next thing. Let's try that. I may have already tested that. That looks familiar to me. Do I have anything that looks like I'm testing that? Nope, I don't see it. So let's verify that that's correct. So we want to basically an assert true of expressions dot, no, we can do this, I think, instead. Hold on. Let's get the feature. Fred dot features dot first or default. No first or default. Wait, what's going on in that? What does it not like about Fred? Why is Fred underlined here at the beginning? Is that just... All right, just was looking for that. Okay, first or default. By the way, this is a nice CodeRushed template. Right here, any letter followed by the equal sign is going to give you this, right, like that. So you can start your link expression. Let's see. We want to say feature dot. Let's do this instead. Get feature. And we're going to look for Barbarian Melee. Like that. And that's going to be equal to an assigned feature. Okay. And we're just returning this. And should I think I'm going to make this easier for calling folks out there. So D&D utils, and we're going to say dot clean, get clean item name of this dot to lower, and do the same thing for name as well. All right. Oops. All right, so there's our get feature. So we can ask for it by name. So that means our code down here can be simple. We can do this, or we can even pass in something, but it'll still find that feature. It can be case insensitive. And then I want to say, then I think I want to do this, is active. And let's go declare this. What's going on here? That's what we call activate on it. Deactivate. They're only set there. I don't want to actually use active. I want conditions satisfied is what I want. That's what I want. And that takes a player. All right, so what I want is this. I got an idea. Do I have a player down here? Please tell me you got a player. No. Do I have a player here? Wow. Wait, I'm in it. I do. So check us out. Let's add a parameter. This. Come on. There's my this in there. And call it player. Good. That was step one. Then here. Add parameter player. Player. Boom. And there. That's where I need it. All right, so now I've got the player. So now I don't need to pass it in anymore because, you know, we just got a reference to it. So I'm cool with that. So now I can see if the condition is satisfied, and it needs a list of args, which guess what we've got? We've got the args. Like that. Sweet. So now condition satisfied. Looks like I need to call this here. All right, cool. So that should be false there. This is actually something, even though we're activating it, does not mean that its conditions are satisfied for it to be activated. So we're going to call condition satisfied there. But I want to now change attacking ability over here on the right and attacking type and then check it again. So I want to come in here. Let's create a new test case for this is what I want to do actually. Let's copy this because we're going to take some of this. Are we using Barbarian Melee anywhere in here? Just there and there. Let's get rid of this. All right, here comes a new test case. And then we're going to test barbarian melee conditions. All right, so we're going to get that, and then we're going to we're assuming that conditions are going to be false coming in there, because that's pretty unlikely that it's happening or not. The other thing we need to do though is we need to call, because these could be happening in any order, we need to say Fred.reset player action-based state, turn-based state. So this is going to reset a lot of things for taking a turn. This resets just a bunch of variables right here, and then calls another reset that it resets a bunch of other variables that we need to be checking. This is in the character class. So I'm going to call reset there, which is important. And I think it's also fair to say it's important in this test case as well, because this get doesn't create a new one. It just gets an existing character that's already out there. So other tests could have made changes, and then we go into this, and then it might fail or pass depending on the order in which the tests are executed. So we want to call reset there, and I think it's fair to also say we want to do reset there as well. Okay, we're setting it false. Then we want to go in and change some of those conditions. So now we want to come over here and we want to say, well, look, the rage, we want to set that to true. So we're going to say, we want to do expressions.do set rage to true. So we're set rage to true, which, by the way, this line of code would be, this expression would be executed when the player activates their rage, right? So set rage to true is there, along with an automatic duration timer on it too, which I don't think I've built yet, but we'll build that. But we've already built the alarm system, so that part's pretty cool. Will Bennett also adds, I just noticed you said this a while ago, but maybe it's changed type. Don't remember, it's been a while for that conversion we're talking about. Okay, so let's see. We're going to set rage to true. We need to change a few other things. We need to say attacking ability. So the other thing that's cool about this is I don't have a Fred.rage property because he's just a character. But characters can have custom variables and custom states in Dungeons and Dragons. And so if your feature gives you a custom variable called rage, that's how we're going to set it. So we set it there. But attacking ability is all over the place. So we're going to say, hey, your attacking ability is equal to, we're going to say strength. Let's have the next reference on this. Here we go. We calculate this on get ability modifier. We calculate attacking, all of these things based on the properties of the weapon. All right. Oh, look at this. We're kind of already doing the code I was wanting to write here in the feature tests. Let's go back over here into our function tests here and see what's going on here. Yeah. I was going to suggest using this here and then coming down here and expecting this one to be true. And I think that's all we need to do. The get ability modifier is going to set things to what we need to activate this. The weapon properties are melee, and the attacking type is melee as well. And if we fight with a melee weapon, and the attack type is melee, get ability modifier is going to grab whatever the appropriate modifier is, which in this case is going to be strength because it's not a ranged attack. So that's what's going on there. So let's look at this. Let's go back to our get ability modifier. Does it make sense to actually do a test case with weapons? I think it does. All right. Let's try that at least. See what happens. Did it pass? I think we will. Oh, shoot. Let's introduce it. Whoops, I hit start. All right, let's try running that test case again. All right, passes. Let's run all our test cases. See how we're doing. All right, looks like we're good. Kids, I'm going to end the show here. We're going to raid you over to Lana Lux. Looks like she's doing some cool stuff with game design over there. I want to take a look at that. And we will say goodbye to you for today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, it looks like she's doing some really fun stuff. All right. Well, then it's asking, have I tried continuous testing? No, I have not. I have anxiety about running anything else with the stream and in the background. So I have not actually tried it. Maybe not live on the stream, I would consider it, but I've like got so much stuff with the special effects and stuff. I am like, I have fear. And often with coding, when I have fear, I don't take a step in the pool. I don't dip my fingers in. So anyway, that's it. Jessam says goodbye. Kids, Will Bennett says nice show. Thanks, kids. As always, it's because of you. You guys are helping raise the quality of the show so high. And we will see you tomorrow.